resuming right where we left off the last one. Here, you see I've applied the mirror modifier and I'm filling with the rig now, testing things out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite happy how the pec bones work when I resize them or the belly one, but the model works better with the bones there than without, so I left them. I may use a cast modifier later for better voltage if I ever decide to use this for inflation animation. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I know. I need to get back to the animating. I know. Will I
Yeah.
animate again? Yes, I will. Is it soon? You hope so, I hope so, but I'm not sure. What's
Yeah.
stopping me? Well, that's a secret. It's
Yeah.
called lack of inspiration. That's what's called
Yeah.
lack of motivation.
See, well, I'm here, and I'm hoping to inspire you.
And you do. That's
Yeah.
like,
And I'm seriously hoping that I would voice a character in one of these animations.
hopefully someday you will. You do have a nice voice.
Oh, thank you.
No worries. Though whose voice, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll get there when we get there.
I. Though, I know I'm not voicing anyone anytime soon. My voice is too high pitched.
Yeah.
Hell, I had to do hundreds of thousands of takes just to get the lines for Mr. Patch and that Mr. Patch vs. Gorgonzola animation.
Yeah.
I don't think I can go for that again.
Yeah. Well, well, let's see. Out of pure curiosity, what's the what's the best way to describe my voice?
Cheerful Australian cinnamon bun. With a slight, very slight, nefarious tint. Like, you can be when you want to be Shelby.
Indeed.
Now, right now, I'm rigging the eyelids of the model. Eyelids can also be annoying. There's three ways to do
Uh,
them. There's part of the main mesh, there's two hemispheres, and then there's the way I often do it as a mix mash of the two, where I have a ball, but I have a slit in the ball. I find that one feels more organic than just the two hemispheres, but it isn't as realistic as saying being part of the mesh itself, the main mesh. You see, this one actually rigged surprisingly well.
uh,
Suspiciously well. Like, I'm afraid if I stare at it too long, it'll break.
hmm.
And now the head's mostly rigged. Now I gotta rig the eye.
Yes, the eye.
The eyeball is now fully rigged. And now I'm doing the eye tracker. The way it works is that the eye bone will track the focus bone. And the focus bones follow the main focus bone. The main focus bone is parented to the head bone, but not connected. So I can drag the main focus one around, and the left and right focuses will follow it.
Cool.
Of course, by the nature of gloomtail and hooktail's heads being so having their eyes on nearly on the side of their heads and not as front facing as us humans, well, that means that he's pretty much cross-eyed 9 times out of 10.
Mm.
Now here I am putting all the verts together for the horns. This takes for frickin' ever. Because there's so many verts to work with. Get those nice looking horns. Same with the tail, really. Oh, this is the tail, not the horns, because the horns are mirrored. My bad.
Ah.
Now the voice I have picked out for the dragon ogre, you remember him?
Yeah.
That's Button's voice.
Ah,
His voice is kind of like yours, only he's a little bit more manic,
okay.
but in a good way. I hope he's still up to
Okay.
it. And the voice for the cat will be Kenji, where he's playing himself as Kenji.
Okay.
I still gotta write the script.
Okay.
Problem is, it took me so long to get to this point. The motivation's kind of drained.
Yeah, motivation. Everyone's favorite thing to keep on top of.
Mm-hmm. And it can drain at any point.
Yeah.
At the finish line, before the finish line, midway, a third in, right at the drawing board.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wish I could get my motivation on motivating kicking the ass.
Same, unfortunately.
But also, I have too many ideas too.
Yeah. I feel like the best way to deal with that is to simply write down your ideas on a piece of paper, on a Word document, and just simply put it there. And then, yeah, if an idea doesn't sound good, take it off the list.
Mm. But all the ideas sound good.
Well, I feel maybe the best way of doing it is maybe sort it out by how, like I'd say, just simply put it in order on if it's doable or not. Like like if you have an idea that involves characters that you have functioning models with and all that, then it'd be on the very top. That's just my best idea. Is just simply make a list and just sort them out by on their doability. I know most likely doability is not a word, but I'm sure that you know what I mean.
Yeah, but the problem is, it may be everything you think about one day, but when you try again, well, next day comes wrong, you might be like, change my mind.
Hmm. Well, maybe the best idea is just simply pick an idea. Like, maybe because we have a list of ideas, just simply pick one out and stick with it. I know that may not exactly sound like a great idea, but if you're having a hard idea, if you have a hard time stick with an idea, just simply stick an idea and just simply put that list well away until the idea you're working on is done. Maybe the best idea is maybe doing an animation on a character on a singular character.
I've
Just focus on
considered that.
yeah. Like I feel like that in a way that you like the best idea I could think of was at least your Golden Zola animation. For the most part, it was just him until like roughly near the end of it.
True, and that one was supposed to keep going too.
Yeah, like even if it's just a one-off, I feel like that could be the best way to kick your motivation to high gear.
Yeah,
Just
well,
focus on
one off to kick the dust off, as it were.
yeah. Pretty much focus on one character and one character alone, and then once that's done, then we'll see if the ball's rolling.
I can give it a shot, I suppose.
Yeah.
Anywho, speaking of animation, there was a character that was of a friend of mine named Lime Dragon. Lime flavored dragon, I believe. I haven't heard from him in so very long. I hope he's
Uh,
okay. He actually helped me in the past. He rigged a few models for me before I figured out how to do it myself, or learned to, I should say.
okay.
He actually rigged Solomon's model back in the day for me.
Ah.
Yeah. Pretty nifty.
Yeah. And see, from what I'm seeing with the normal work, it seems like yeah, it doesn't work on the teeth.
Yep, I'm doing the texture, well, the UV maps of the teeth. Now, oops, now we're in GIMP. No, not the Leverware, the art program that I say is far and above better than Photoshop. Because it's
Yeah,
gonna nickel and dime you.
yeah,
Here I am doing the UV maps for the wings now. I wasn't quite sure how to do it, but I said, I'll do it like that. Make it so the wings are like an arm in a sense. And I
yeah.
made sure every V map fit onto the one here. So the wings were too big, so they had to get their own. And once I had all my UV maps into on the by, except for the eyes and the wings, I decided to. Well, here I'm doing the eye one. Now the eyes are tricky because sometimes they don't look the direction you think they're looking. Like, which way do you think it's up on the eye at the moment? Well, here I'm going to draw an arrow, as you see, to help me figure out exactly which way's up. And you see, up doesn't match. So I'm going to have to... And right now I'm checking the bones to see if they're causing it, but they're not. Which means I'm going to have to twist and turn. But I'm going to have to draw an arrow on the actual texture here. So no true up. And now that they're perfectly aligned again, see? I just did that by adjusting the UV map. And I'm testing here to make sure they're following the focuses properly.
Okay.
Now I'm working on the UVs for the eyelids. And I find there's oddities of the geometry inside the eyelid. For some damn reason, the edge group doesn't want to go all the way around the inside. Even when I select all the edges in there. I do not know why, it just won't. Eventually I decided to leave it alone and move on.
Okay.
Now that everything's lined up, I start my texturing journey. I open up the textures of the original gloomtail and use the colors from there on my texture sheets. This is the easy bit, the base colors. The wings are done just like that. I apply the texture to the wings, and boom. Next up, I need to draw the shape of his color patterns on his body. So I have a guide to work with when texturing him in GIMP. I decided to try to be fancy and incorporate the zigzag pattern that seems to appear on his neck due to his accordion kite-like style there.
Okay.
And I had it go all the way down to his tail and taper off. Because it felt right. And this is me checking to make sure he doesn't have any paw colors. He doesn't. So now I have the updated guide here. I just overlap the original one, which is where it's time I start working on the teeth textures, which are quick and easy.
Okay.
And I go to test them on the teeth, and ew, that didn't look right. So now I'm realigning the UVs for the teeth, each tooth, to make them look better. So are you excited for the new Monster Hunter game? I know you play those games on Switch.
I played Monster Hunter World on the PlayStation.
Oh.
And yeah, and I never completed that. I never got too far in the story of that. And then, well, when I stopped playing the PlayStation and I got the Switch, then I got Monster Hunter Rise. And, like, for the most part, I completed the story. There's just like side quests and a few event stuff, but that's not important.
Fair enough. Here I am doing the tongue.
Ah,
It has a gradient on it on the original texture sheet, so I'm trying to replicate that on the tongue on my sheet.
okay.
Poof.
Yeah. Nice.
Now for the inner mouth,
Okay.
which is a lot trickier to do because, paper, you don't actually have an inner mouth. So I
You
decided
kind
to
of.
work with what colors I did have,
Okay.
which would be the tongue.
Okay.
Now I gotta erase a little bit of the inner mouth so I can form the inner lip.
Uh, so,
Here I'm putting the
yeah.
base color in. It's now time to do his
Okay.
toes and claws, which thankfully
Cool.
are the same color,
That's good to know.
and his gums.
Hmm.
A little shade to make him stand out a bit better. He's really starting to come
Mm-hmm.
together. And now I'm doing the purple parts of his body.
Okay.
Now, once I'm done doing the quick mask here, I make a copy of it as a separate image just so I have in case I need to, do more work in that area. And here you see me doing the jagged bits of his that I decided to add to him. I really think add a lot to the character's design. You'll see what I mean. I even put him on his tail too, just for funsies.
Cool.
This is me sharpening them up on the tail so they look a bit better.
Yeah.
And doing the same on
Yeah.
the neck to try to be a bit consistent for the most part. I
Yep.
see you and me getting a little sloppy. Fix that. There you go.
Nice.
Don't let me
Yeah.
catch you slipping, Joe.
So yeah, back to Monster Hunter. Yeah, I still see. First, the next game, Wilds. Yeah, yeah. At this point in time, it's not coming on the Switch. It's going to be on the more. It's going to be as far as I know on PC and on the on most and most. It'll be on the current consoles, mainly the PS5 and I think the Xbox. I think.
Huh. Oh,
Yeah, and the thing is that see, I don't have a PS5, nor does my brother. So for the time being, I just gonna have to sit tight and wait.
I'm sure I'll come to Switch eventually.
Yeah, but from what I've seen from trailers and all that, it looks very graphically intense. So I don't know if the Switch can really handle that.
True. I mean, we all saw what happened with Mortal Kombat when it got ported.
So for the time being, I'm just gonna just sit tight and wait to see what happens.
Now here I decided to get a little fancy and add a little something extra to Gloomtail's design. I decided to add a star pattern to his purple bits. It
Yeah,
wasn't on
that's
the
one.
original Gloomtail, but I thought it fit because he was inside the Palace of Darkness and, Mario game star themes are everywhere.
Yeah, and I definitely say that some artistic freedom is needed every now and then.
Yeah, just so Nintendo doesn't come for my ass.
Yeah, they are a little bit too trigger happy with that cease and desist.
Yeah, though one can argue this is complete altercation because it's not even the original model. I'm just doing it based on the original model. I
Yeah,
decided to make the stars a darker purple in the underbelly, and to add a few more stars too, tiny AD ones. Once I figure out the right
mhm.
aspect ratio. Part of me's like, it's not gonna look great. Part of me's like, oh, it's gonna look amazing. And you never really truly know until you actually put the texture onto the body if it was a
Yeah,
good idea or an awful idea. If
yeah,
luckily for me, it was a great idea. Here I am making sure the bottom lip is colored properly
Yeah.
I must have gone on break or something from there. Anyway, let's see
Hmm.
how. Oh, and that's why I had the overlay, so I could chop off extra bits of the stars so it'd be nice and clean. And boom, looks good on it.
Ooh.
Came
Oh.
looking fabulous.
Fabulous, darling.
Now to add his dark eyes, or the
Ah.
dark rims around his eyes.
Hmm.
I had a little trouble figuring out where the color was, but I found it eventually.
Good.
I also made the inside of his nose the same color.
Ah.
Now it's really starting to come together, but first I gotta align some textures here. Make sure they line up
Mhm.
just right so, no interruptions. And now onto the horns.
Interesting.
I noticed the horns went from one color to another. They go from being dark horn to yellow thing at the tip. So I thought, I'll make that, but make it so the horn's a gradient instead of having that stupid thing on the tip of his horn.
Hmm.
Ended up working
Yeah.
great. Though I wasn't quite sure
Yeah.
where the texture was. Apparently his horns were using different texture for a bit. Oops.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, they weren't using a different texture, and they were on a different place on the texture map. Then I realized I was using the wrong base color. They're not supposed to be yellow black to yellow, they're supposed to be black to red. Oops.
Yeah.
Always check your references, kids.
Yeah.
Here I'm checking again to make sure I got the right eye. And yes, he has red eyes, so I put on his base eye color a little bit of red for the back of the eyeball if you twist it too far. And then I did the pupil. I said I did the pupil, thank you. Once I. And this is me testing the size of the pupil, by the way. That's why I applied the eye texture here to see, is that a good size for a pupil? Looks about a little big. It's a little big. So I resize
Ooh.
it on the actual UV map there. And then I go
Yep.
into shade it using the colors that were on the original eye texture. Well, for some of it. And up looking pretty good.
Yeah. I have to agree.
Thankfully, I already used this technique with red eyes with the sort of orangey glow around the pupil.
Yeah. Look. Yeah. Looks almost like a black hole to some degree.
Now that his eyes are on properly, I did a quick chest test. So right now I decided to give his toes something a little extra. So not just yellow. Same with his claw, the spikes on his neck and then his toes. First I did this. I was like, does this look good? Yeah, so. Let's try smudge it up a bit, and ooh, that looks better. So I decided to do the same thing to
Okay.
his toes.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So yes. So let's talk about something.
And there, he's pretty much done. So now I gotta do the shine map for his
Ah.
eye.
Okay.
And that uses gray colors.
Mhm.
The darker the color, the more shiny.
Okay.
And I've done this
So.
before on smart models, and it can really make the eyes pop in a good way.
Yeah.
But only if you apply the nose correctly, and at first I don't. I
Ah.
accidentally hook one of the notes to spectral when it should be connected to metallic, causing it not to reflect quite right. As you can see in render, the rendered version down below. See
Yeah.
how the light isn't going over the pupil? That's because I made a oopsie. And this is me trying to figure out what I did wrong.
Okay.
You can see the cube there is not quite reflecting the eye. But then I figure out what I did wrong. So I fix it, and then I can see the cube and light reflecting better. And with that fixed,
Mm.
I go to pose him to match the reference image, and realize his hooked tail now is kind of clipping to his actual tail. Oopsie.
Ooh.
But that was an easy fix, just twist it a little bit to the side. Now just a little
Yeah.
readjustment of his legs, with a little platform for him to stand on flat, and he looks fabulous.
Darn.
He doesn't even need the normal map. And then I start giving all his bits and pieces their proper names.
Yep.
Because you can't have Gloom without his sister Hook.
Yeah.
So I duplicate him, boot Gloom off the table, and start editing Gloom into Hook. And then I realize they actually have 3 horns on their head, not 2.
Oops.
But I decided, screw it. Gloom gets only 2 horns, while Hook gets 3.
Yeah, that might be more distinctive and not just go like, they're just a reskin.
Mm-hmm. Also, gloomtail has red eyes, while hooktail has cyan.
Ooh. Nice.
See? Or should I say
Yeah.
hazel?
Wow,
So I went
Hazel,
to
like my eyes.
So I went to every single layer that had the shading of, and just them to fit more closely to the color that was on the original ref.
Mm-hmm.
Or gloomtail, that is.
Yeah.
It's not as scary, is it?
Yeah. Mm. So, yeah, anything else we want to talk about?
Well, in a minute.
Yeah.
Now, for gloomtail, hooktail, it's interesting that she has the purple toes, while gloomtail has yellow toes. You think it'd be the other way around.
Mm.
Anyway, once I got the changed texture, I made new material. Don't you think Gloom looks good with the purple?
Yeah.
But I think they used yellow to make it break up a bit more.
Yeah.
But also I noticed that Hooktail's tongue is a lighter shade of lighter color than Gloom's, so I fixed that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I erased the belly markings, even though they'd be exactly the same. But they're a different color, and outside, instead of stars, there'd be circles.
Ooh.
Sort of like a sun motif.
Mm-hmm.
From black to red. And then I realized I forgot the hook. I decided to add the face, so it was a little bit different too, having a bit of a hooked beak appearance too, and swimming down the nose, the snout a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know, feminizing, over, feminine, making things overly girly to make them more queer as female. I know, but come on.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta make her a little different from her brother than just a palette swap.
Yeah. I think that's the important thing when it comes to you want to make multiple characters using the same model. Yeah, don't just copy and paste and just change the colors. Yeah, at least change some of the things, change a few things on the models just so that they are the more visually distinctive.
Indeed. Now, as you can see, I made the circle slightly off center in the center.
Yeah.
That's just to make it more visually attractive.
Yeah. We're slowly approaching the end time of this.
We are. Though, it's not quite over when you think it's over, because I realize I kind of made a boo-boo.
Yeah, I know, just
Spoiler
one
alert,
of
but I realized that, unlike Gloomtail, Hooktail's hook, tail, and her horns are different colors. Imps.
Oopsie.
So that was the last minute fix I did. yesterday.
Mm.
Now I decided to go with a bit of a brighter shade this time instead of darker. And I think it really
Ooh.
works. Especially with the red of her main body. And I decided to make her ear and mouth a different shade of red so it wouldn't match with her, mouth as much.
Yeah.
And I realized, oops, I forgot to do the lower lip. Oh well, that'll be a quick fix.
Yeah.
Here I am doing the horns. They fade into yellow from red.
Nice.
Thank you. And that's me putting her tail hook on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, I'll pose them so they look nice.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta do a showcase render for them, but it might be part of the fantasy cats too. That's the whole reason I did this, because I was working on the fantasy cats backdrop, which was the Palace of Darkness from Thousand Year Door, and because I was already working on some Thousand Year Door, these two won't leave my freaking brain alone.
Mm.
And then the motivation is like, do this instead. But why? Just do it. So I did. And it went surprisingly fast, as you can see.
Yeah.
I had this
Well, I
done in
definitely.
4 or 5 days.
Yeah. Well, I definitely say that this. I definitely say that this one looks a lot nicer and like looks has a nice satisfying look. So I think, but yeah,
And that's
it's
the end of
just
this video.